author Ali Aldridge, and today I'm going to be doing a review of the Folk of Air series, which I read towards the end of last year. I'm going to start off with which books are in that series. So we've got The Cruel Prince, The Wicked King, The Queen of Nothing, and there's a spin-off book called How the King of Elfhame Learned to Hate Stories. So let's get started with book one, The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. So I first discovered this book on TikTok probably about 2-3 years ago. It was like at the start of the pandemic. Everyone was on TikTok. Everyone was going crazy about this story set in Feyland. So it's like a story with fairies and stuff. And it was tagged as an enemies to lovers romance. It sounded really good. Everyone was raving about it. So I went on my Kindle and I saw that I could get it for free through Amazon Prime. Now, if you have Amazon Prime, you know that you can get things like your delivery is free and often next day. You get other perks like obviously you can borrow books, and you can have them for as long as you need them to read them. But you'll get to a point where I think it's about 10 books, where you then have to return a book to borrow another book. But it's a really good service. You also get Prime TV, which has TV shows, films, and lots of things are exclusive only to Prime. There's some really great shows on there, and there's Prime Music as well, so you can listen to tunes too. So it is really good, and I really do love my Prime. So I borrowed the book, and I'd not really used the Prime reading before, and I kind of forgot about it as well. So it was on my Kindle, and it was like 2-3 years ago, and then it was the end of December, end of 2022, and I knew that coming up was November, lots of birthdays, December, Christmas. So I was trying to be really careful with money so that I could buy people presents and gifts and things. Sorry, my cat's decided to join in. You love the Folk of Air, don't you? Just love a story. So yeah, so she wants to hear all about it too. So if you see my hand just brushing across, that is little Gracie come to say hello. She's the greedy cat. She's always hungry, so she's probably hungry. She'll probably over here telling me, are you sure it's not breakfast time? Again, she's already had 2 breakfasts today because she tricked my 4-year-old into believing she hadn't had any food, didn't you? You had second breakfast this morning, didn't you? You were probably a hobbit in a past life. So I then finally was going through looking for a free book to read because I was trying to save money, and I came across The Cruel Prince. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I still have not read this book. So I decided to give it a go and see if it was worth all the hype. And I was pleasantly surprised that it was worth the hype, because I absolutely loved it, and I read it pretty quick for me, and I'm a slow reader. It was like less than a month and I'd already finished the book, so I was really, really chuffed with myself. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a lowdown of what was in the story, and I'll try and timestamp the video so you know where to jump if you don't want to know anything about what happens in the book. So, and if you want to do timestamp in the description. So, the book starts with a really, really good opening. I can't remember if it was the prologue or the first chapter, but it starts off with there's 3 sisters, and I really enjoyed how the sisters' relationship was. Like, they're all really believable and really well developed. So the oldest sister is half Fae, so she's got a human mum and a Fae dad, and the 2 twin sisters, who are the younger sisters, are fully human. They've got a human mum and a human dad, and they all share the same human mum. And the human mum had the older daughter with a red cap from Feyland, and he is not happy that she has run away with his daughter, and so he decides to pay them a visit and get his daughter back. And being a red cap, who are famous for dipping their cap in the blood of their victims, his way to deal with this is to kill his ex-wife and her new husband. So the kids see a massacre. So it is pretty brutal, the opening of the book. But there's something really grabbing about something like that, because now you are invested, because these poor girls being taken by a man they don't know to go and live in fairyland. And this also blends into their relationship with fairyland. So the oldest one has an element of feeling, I guess, guilty, because she feels that it's her fault that Maddock, who's her dad, in the general of the Fey army, why he decided to come and take them to Fairyland. So in a way she feels responsible, even though it's really not her fault. The decisions were all made by adults, not her, and she's a child as well. So she grows up in Fairyland, hating the place and wanting to get back to the human world so she can create a safe place for her twin sisters to be. She also falls in love with a girl from the human world, and they end up getting a place together, and that's all lovely. And also that has its own complexities because they're like a relationship from two different worlds and trying to understand each other's worlds, which is really good as well. So that was like a little side plot, like its own thing. But they never get really into that because that's not what the story is about. The story is about Jude, who's one of the twin sisters. So let's get on to those two. So they're both human and they're both growing up in the Fey world. Now, the Fey don't have a very high opinion of the humans because the humans are inferior to them. So they can enchant them, control them. They often will go and steal humans from the human world and bring them back and use them as slaves because they will walk around like zombies, but if they're enchanted just to do as they're told. They also like to make fun of humans because they can trick them quite easily, like if they eat certain fruits or do different things. They always got ways to overpower humans with all their magic and stuff, which humans can't do. So it is quite treacherous for the two twin human girls to be growing up in Fairyland, and it's also extremely unusual for them to be part of one of the high families. So with Maddock being the general of the army, he has a very high position, so the girls get to go to the Fey school that is for all the high court families. So they have to protect themselves. Now Maddock has a wife. She has a little boy called Oak, and all of them absolutely adore him. He's really cute. They love him to bits. He's a little bit cheeky. Gotta love him. So they all love him. And Maddock's wife gives them advice about how to stay safe in the fairy world. So she makes sure they wear the right clothes to the parties to look the part, and she makes sure they know all the rules, like the manners and things that are expected of them, and that they have these bracelets, things like rosary berries or something, rowan berries, and they have to wear them to protect themselves from being enchanted or harmed from the Fey kind. So they wear these things to give themselves some protection, but obviously it's not foolproof because the bracelet could break, they could forget to put it on, they could lose it. There's all these, it could be cut off by their enemies. So there's all these things that they have to be very careful of. So they're always treading carefully. Not the two twin girls, they take two different responses to this. So one of them, the other sister, who the story's not about, she's quite compliant. So she tries to do everything she can to appease them, to keep them happy, follow all the rules, be the perfect human in the high court. And the other sister, Jude, she ain't having none of it. She wants to stand her own ground, be respected, be acknowledged as their equal, and so she trains with Maddock to become a fighter, so that if she ever finds herself in danger, she is able to keep herself safe because she'll be able to fight. And so they are two very different girls who have approached it in different ways, and they look identical. At the Fey school that they go to is the children of the High Court. One of the children of the High Court is Prince Cardan. Prince Cardan is the son of the king and the ruling family. However, there is a legend about him, from when he was born, poor boy, saying that he is the one who is going to destroy the crown. So there's always this feeling that he is the black sheep of the family because he's going to bring the whole family down, because that is his fate or his legacy or whatever. So he's shunned and treated like rubbish by his own family, and in response he then, because he's in this elevated position because he's still royalty, he then takes it out on everybody else, especially these two human girls who seem to have it all and they're not even Fey. So he likes to pick on them. So this is where him and Jude clash, because unlike her sister who will just bow out and try and keep out of Cardan's way, Jude is ready to face him head on. And it is obviously really enjoyable to see her standing strong. We all love a powerful woman. And people who who are standing up for themselves. It's like always like a really good trait to see. But I loved how all the characters are well developed. They've got their reasons for why they are the way they are, and it made it very believable. So within all this, Jude finds herself with a very good offer. So the king would like to recruit her into his spy service. By recruiting her, he then gives her immunity. He's able to do this. He can grant it to her, immunity, so that she can't be influenced or overpowered by the other fays. Like if they told her, go take off your clothes and go dance naked in front of everybody at the party, she wouldn't have to do it, because now she has immunity against everyone except him. So there's always a little catch. Fae always love a little catch to all of their offers. So, but it's a really good deal. So she accepts it. So she's quite happy to spy for the king. And one of her benefits is that now they can't influence her, and she can lie. Whereas all the other fae, that's one thing that they can't do, is they can't lie, which is why they often talk in riddles, or they say things on purpose to trick people, because they'll tell it in a way that it could be true, but if you understood what the truth was, you'd realise the truth within the truth. I don't know if that makes sense. But they talk in riddles, basically, to try and get around the fact that they can't lie. So anyway, so she now has this elevated position. It's a secret position, so nobody knows that she's doing this secret job. And then there is an event. I can't remember what the event was for, but everyone was there. And this is the event where somebody decides to kill the king. So it's all been planned. It's like a real conspiracy. The king gets killed, and this then causes an uproar, because who's going to be the Fae king or the Fae queen? Who's going to take the crown? And the crown has been created by a Fae who can enchant objects, and this crown has got a curse on it that it can only be worn by somebody of the royal family's blood. Now, one of the secrets that Maddox knows, and he's obviously into strategy and play and wanting to get his position of power, is that Oak, the daughter of his, the son of his stepwife, is actually the son of the now deceased king, putting him in position where he could wear the crown. The uncle who raised Cardan, he thinks that he should be next in line, and he was involved with this, I don't know what you call it, but killing of the king. So he's like right up there, like, it's my crown, I'm next in line, and he's like ready for that crown. And then there's also Cardan, who obviously won't be getting the crown because he is the black sheep of the family. If he gets the crown, he's going to destroy the crown, he's going to destroy the royal family. So and the other people in the royal family are getting killed because people want the crown. So anyway, Cardan is always drunk because he hates his life, so he's always drunk. And Jude finds herself in the awkward position where she has to rescue Cardan and get him to safety. So she does, and this does change things for them, because now instead of trying to kill each other, she's now trying to save him. There was him being tied up in a chair, so we've got like the whole position of power thing going on, and a kiss, and I remember there being something about the kiss that just made it just feel like a bit like woo, and not creepy at all, even though he's tied up on the chair and they hate each other. It just worked. So that happened, and then they're also trying to hatch a plan, because Jude knows her brother is too young to be on the throne, and that he'll then be a target for everybody else who wants power. And obviously Maddox's plan is that he will be Oakley's advisor, and he will like sit next to him on the, like be right next to him on the throne, and really Maddox will be the king, but just indirectly through Oakley. So Jude can see straight through his little master plan, so she decides to help get Oakley out and get Cardan in, because they also don't like the uncle. So Jude hatches a plan. The plan also will involve having to fight Maddox, the general of the Fae army who has trained her, and she knows how strong and powerful he is, and now she's in a position where she is going to have to fight him. So she hatches a plan, she does it all, blah 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 blah. One thing leads to another, and Cárdan is king, and he has promised that when she makes him king, he will do what she says for a year and a day. So she is technically in charge of the Fae, all the Fae, all the Fae, so they're ruling over the Fae, but they don't know because they think Cárdan is. So their plan has worked. And yeah, this is kind of where book 1 ended, and I could feel the start of a romance. So when I saw this on TikTok, I thought there was going to be it was going to be really steamy, because there seemed to be a lot of like steam lovers on TikTok, so I thought that's what it was going to be like. So I was quite surprised that there wasn't like a lot of steam. There's just this like one kiss really that really did anything, but I could definitely feel that there was something burning here. So I was desperate to get to the next book. But remember, at the start of all this, I'm trying not to spend any money. So I go and check to see, can I get it on Prime? And I can. So I quickly download it and start reading it right away. And I absolutely loved book 2. So book 2, there's all the politics and everything's all been thrown out. So like people who've got like, oh God, I think I accidentally hit Gracie in the face by getting excited to talk about it. So there's all the politics going on, and like people who've made deals or arrangements, all that stuff with the king, they now need to try and create that with Cárdan. So people like come into the castle to come like ask like favours or blessings and different things like that, pardons, all sorts of stuff. And so Jude is standing by his side. And one of the interesting people is, in this one, she was in book 1, is Nikasa. So Nikasa was in book 1. She is Cárdan's ex-girlfriend. And she broke up with Cárdan because Cárdan broke up with her because he caught her having an affair with his best friend. His best friend also had a thing for the 2 twin humans. Now, I can't remember the best friend's name, but he just likes drama. He loves drama, and he likes to cause drama between people, upsetting people, all that kind of stuff. So when he got with Jude's twin sister, he wanted to test her love by her allowing him to date Jude. Just weird, very messed up. So when he was dating Jude, which I was kind of shocked that she fell for it, to be honest, because she seems to have like a really good detector for knowing whether or not someone is telling the truth, and obviously they can't lie, but somehow she like started to have feelings for him and went and hung out around his house and stuff. And then like it all come to light that actually it was all just a game, because really he's with her sister, which then felt like Jude felt like she was betrayed by her sister. Like, why did her sister let her get played like that? And that's what caused them both to fall out. But in book 2, the sister is now marrying that guy. So we have a Fae wedding, and we also have Nikasa trying to get back with her ex Cárdan while Jude is standing on the side. And we know that there is a feelings going on between these two, although they both think that each other hate each other. And now Nikasa is here trying to get back with her ex, because she thinks that she would make a great a queen for King Cárdan. Now he's not Prince Cárdan, he's been is it coronation? He's been crowned anyway. So she thinks that she would be a great choice for him. Jude's busy still trying to work out who they can trust, who they can't trust, because like lots of things have changed, and there is an assassination attempt on King Cárdan. Somewhere along the lines, I can't remember how it came about, but Jude ends up being kidnapped and taken to the undersea court, which is one of the reasons why I did really enjoy this book, because I love anything mermaid related, and the undersea court is a bit mermaidy, even though it's Fae, but they're mermaids really. And So she's held prisoner underneath there, and they treat her awful while she's there. And obviously she still wants to keep up the ruse that she isn't immune to their persuasion and things, because them not knowing is part of her power of being in control of what she can and can't do, because they don't know that she has that power over them. So they decide that what they want her to do is they want her to kill Prince Cardan, or King Cardan now. So when she goes back, everyone's like really pleased that she's back, but she's also now got intel on what the Undersea Kingdom are up to, because they think that she is enchanted by them and under their spell, but she wasn't really. So she actually knows what they're all up to, and that they want him dead. So she goes after somebody who is involved in the conspiracy, and she meets up with the guy, and she kills him. And then she goes, but this guy's got a really influential position. I'm trying really careful not to ruin it and give everything away. But she goes back to Prince Cardan and she tells him what happened and things like, there's a chance that he could be really upset with her. But instead he wants to marry her. So they get married, and it was lovely. I was like, yes, I'm so happy. Oh, they're finally getting it together. They finally figured it out. They're going to be married. They're going to be king and queen together. This just makes sense, because she pretty much was the queen already. Just nobody knew, because she was just whispering in his ear. But now she'll be able to speak. Well, she wasn't just whispering in his ear. Quite often he would leave her in control because he couldn't be bothered to go to the meeting. So she was doing it all anyway. But now she gets to have the crown and the glory and everything to go with it. And the man that she really, really likes, because they actually do get each other in a weird way. It was like, yeah, it was really good arc building. I could see how they come together. But something happened where they then went and had to face the Undersea Kingdom, and they had there was some crime that they had her for, and instead, they just got married in secret, the two of them. So there was nobody else there. They secretly got married, and I feel like I've got cat hair now on my lips. Thanks, Gracie. So they're there, and they want Jude to be punished, and instead of admitting to everyone that they're actually married, Cardan passes a judgment on Jude, and now she is banished from the Fey lands. So she's got to go back to the human lands, and that's it. She's gone, kicked to the curb. And it was really, really heartbreaking, because I was finally feeling like they'd got it sorted, they were all together, and I was just like, it was like I hit the height and then straight down, crashing, really what? Not happy at all. And yeah, I was desperate to get on to the next book, to see her get her own back on Prince Cardan for what he has done. Yeah. And then I went on Prime, and my anguish just grew, because does Prime have book 3 available to borrow? No, not on Prime. It might be on Kindle Unlimited, but I don't have Kindle Unlimited. But it wasn't on Prime. So then I was like, well, what do I do? Because it's just weird, isn't it? You didn't just want to buy just book 3, just the last book in the series. You want the whole series. It just felt really weird. And I went to the Works, which is arts and crafts and bookshop thing in the UK. And they had all 3 books for just £10, which is a really, really good deal. That's about £3 per book. I'm pretty sure it costs more to even print the book, so it is a real bargain. But as I said at the beginning, I am trying to spend no money, because I know I have a lot of expenses coming up very, very soon. So I was a little bit stuck. What do I do? Do I see if someone will buy it for me for Christmas and wait until December? But when you desperately want to read a book, you don't want to be waiting 2 months for somebody to gift it to you. You want it now. So I was really in this dilemma of what am I going to do? And then I remembered my library card. So I went to the library, and they didn't have it in the physical library, but they did have it on Libby, which is the mobile app for Suffolk County Libraries. I think other libraries in the UK also use the Libby app, so it means you can borrow ebooks using your library card, which is great. So I did borrow, and so that's how I came to The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. So, The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black starts with, obviously, Jude living in the human world. Now, I didn't enjoy this as much because I got really in love with living in the Fae world. But it was interesting to see how the other Fae that were trying to hide in the human world lived. So there's a Fae in the human world that likes to eat other humans. Well, not eat other humans because they're not human themselves, but they like to eat humans. And Jude finds herself in a situation where she has to fight her, and she's a red cap too, just like Maddox. So she's a really good fighter, and Jude only just manages to beat her, and this creates like a level of respect between the two of them. And yeah, she's still like really sad because out of all three sisters, she was the one who wanted to stay living in the Fae world. She loved the whole like trying to find her place in the Fae world. She didn't want to be in the human world, even though her older sister was always trying to persuade her, just come be safe in the human world. So she's living there with her sister, who's going through some stuff because in the previous book, she decided to bring her girlfriend to the Faeland, and she was kind of like shocked by everything, and they broke up over it because she wasn't very comfortable. So at this point, they're not together, I think. Yeah, I think they went together. Whereas in book 2, they were mostly together because Oak was, that was it. Because Oak was living with them in the human world, and everything was happy. And then they came over for the twin sisters' wedding, who married the idiot guy. And when they got married at the wedding, the human girlfriend of the half-Fae sister suddenly could see what everything was, and was shocked and horrified, and she didn't like all the secrets that had been kept. She didn't like it. She found it quite scary, and they broke up over it. So the two sisters, the oldest one, who's half Fae, and Jude, are both going through a breakup really at the moment, because and Jude does end up confessing to her sister and talking to her about how she actually did marry. Did she tell them that she married Cullen? But that there was more to them both. So then she does tell her sister about the spying and all that kind of stuff. So she has told her sister quite a lot by this point. Anyway, her younger sister, or I always assumed she's younger just because she seemed a little bit more vulnerable and a little bit, just came across weaker and just made me feel like she was the little sister. But the other twin, she comes into the human world to find Jude and ask for her help. So basically what's happened is that her husband has been found dead, and she's got to go and stand trial before the king, King Cardan. And she knows that when they ask her questions, as she is human, they'll be able to compel her to tell the truth, and she won't be able to lie. And she did kill him. So she wants Jude to go in for her, in her place, because Jude is stronger than her. And also, I don't know how she knew, but she knows that Jude isn't under the influence like she is. So she will be, because of the deal that she had with the king. So Jude is like really eager to go back, even though the older sister's like, oh, I don't think this is a good idea. I can see you both getting killed with this difficult plan. But like Jude's like, no, I'm in. So she goes over and she dresses up as her sister, and she goes to stand in court, and everything's going great, and everyone's falling for it and believing that she is her sister. And Cardan is asking the questions like, did you kill your husband? And she's like, no, I didn't. So that all goes on. Then they want to know, is it really the sister or is it Jude? So that somebody is starting to question the truth here. Like, not sure. I was convinced that she did kill her husband, so maybe it's not actually her and it's actually Jude. So Cardan offers to take the sister to his private quarters to inspect them, to check if they've got the scar that he knows that Jude has. So Jude is thinking, my husband is going to find out that I'm not really my sister and that I am really his wife. So Prince Cardan takes Jude to his private quarters so that he can check, is she Jude or is she her sister? But as soon as the door is closed, it's quite clear that Cardan knows exactly which sister is in his room, because he is in love with Jude and he could tell it's Jude from anywhere. So he starts off straight away like, why have you not been replying to my letters? And she's a little bit confused. She's like, what letters? So obviously there's some letters that never were received. I think Holly Black should do a book about the letters that were never read or something. That would be really good, but we never find out what was in the letters. So they're kind of starting to have a moment as they realise that there might have been some other like misunderstandings, when suddenly there is an attack on the castle, and breaking into the room is Madoc's soldiers to rescue his daughter. Now, as I told you at the very start, Madoc loved these girls as if they really were his own daughters, except for after he was betrayed for like, I don't know, the second or third time by Jude, when he then swore that if he ever met her again, that if she wants to be his equal, he will treat her as his equal and he will kill her the next time he sees her. So she's now been rescued by Madoc, but she knows that if Madoc was to find out that she is not the daughter he thinks he is rescuing, that he will kill her. So she's now at his camp, and obviously she's got to be really careful and has to continue to pretend to be the other sister until she can escape. Other things all come into play, which is awesome. So like and sisters, they like take risks to come and help save her. So anyway, she ends up going back to the castle. I can't remember what goes on there, but they were like, it was like another big fight thing, and Cardan gets to the point where he decides that he's had enough and he's gonna smash and break that crown. And as we know all over the book, that there is a fae that creates all these enchanted items, and often the items will also are a little bit trickery because there's usually a curse involved. So, and you remember that there was the prophecy about Cardan being the one who is going to destroy the crown. Everyone thought this was going to be ruin the royal family, but it doesn't. It curses Cardan, and Cardan is now a giant killer snake, which totally makes sense with why the cover of Queen of Nothing has a snake on him. Which all the covers of the books are really awesome, but this one I thought was really pretty, and then it made sense when I got to this bit. I was like, oh, that makes sense. And all the other bits with all the whole, like, he's the, you know, he's going to let the whole family down, all of that all started to make sense, which was awesome. So it all comes together in this really lovely, satisfying way. Everybody wants to kill the snake except for Jude. So right at the very start, remember, Cardan and Jude both wanted to kill each other. Now she's the only one who doesn't want to kill him. She's like, there must be another way. There must be a way to save him. And it turns out that she was right, and they do find a way. Oh, and I forgot about the bit when they were escaping from the camp. Madoc figured out that she was Jude, and they did have their fight that they'd always swore they were going to do. And they fight, and she ended up bettering him, but she was so badly injured herself. She was like bleeding everywhere, and the blood fell onto the ground, and the blood then caused all these beautiful flowers, white flowers and things to grow, which was a sign that she is the true queen of Fae. So so they knew that she needed to get back to the castle to be the queen. So anyway, I forgot about that bit, so I just want to go back because I really love that bit, and then we'll jump back to where we are. So anyway, she does manage to save Cardan, and then they have their kiss and live happily ever after, and now they are the king and queen of fairyland, and it will live happily ever after, and it was awesome. And even though it didn't leave it open that there needed to be another book, it just had that feeling that I just loved the characters and this world building and everything so much that I wanted more. So when I discovered that there is another book called The King of Elfhame, Why the King of Elfhame Learned to Hate Stories. I think I said that right, but I should have the book up here for you to be able to see what I'm going on about. So, so in this book, It's completely different to the others, but I didn't love it as much as the other stories, but it was good because I wanted more and Holly Black gave more. So it starts off with a very, very young Prince Cardan. So it's like when he's a child and how he grew up, and like, oh, it's really, really sad. Like he's, you know, he got this horrible prophecies and everyone's like looking down at him like he's already a failure before he's even had a chance to do anything in life. His mum leaves him to be raised by the cat, so he gets his milk from the cat, like drinking from the cat. And I just think it was just like really sad. He often spent a lot of time in the barn. His brothers and sisters weren't very nice to him. When his mum gets sent to the Tower of Forgetting, so it's like a place where they send people to be forgotten, she goes there and like his uncle then takes Prince Cardan in, but it's not like in a nice way, not like he wants to save him. It's more like he takes him in so he can be horrible to him. So he's always beating him up and telling him he's nothing and he's worthless, he's never going to amount to anything. Just like constantly putting him down and being not a very nice uncle at all, and making Cardan feel like he should be grateful that he's looking after him because nobody else wanted him. So it's like a really horrible position. So you can see how Cardan became so cruel. But he also meets this woman who in like the barn, and she tells him this story. And at the very beginning, because I got this book on audio, again, saving my money. So through my library, they have an app called BorrowBox and you can borrow books there for free. So I did listen to it on audio. I don't usually get on with audio books, but because I just read the 3 books, I had a really strong understanding of who all the characters were and all the main players and the world and everything like that. So I was able to get on with it and mostly listen to it when I was in the bath, which was lovely. So, there's this story and I was a bit like, why do we need to know some story? Like, why are we being told this story? But it's like an old like fairy tale kind of vibe to it. But the thing that was really, really satisfying about the book is that it kind of goes full circle. So it takes us from this fairy tale all the way through and explains like why Cardan ended up with Nicasia, why he then like had feelings for Jude, like what attracted him to her. And it takes us full circle, gives us a better understanding of Prince Cardan. And yeah, so if you wanted more Folk of Air, it's definitely worth it. But I definitely am thinking that in future I will definitely read more of Holly Black's books because I did really enjoy it and I realised that I probably am a fan of fae tales. So I hope you have enjoyed my review of the Folk of Air series. I hope I haven't done too many spoilers so that you don't want to go read it. If you have read it, I hope that you have it's reminded you about those feelings you had when you read it and that you're able to relate to what I'm saying. And I hope you click like and subscribe so that you can check out my other book reviews and any that I post in future.